Muy buenas, queridos Giants fans. Estamos a menos de una semana para el draft. Estamos ya a 5 o 6 días. Y acordaros, suscribiros al canal, darle al like, comentar, que siempre nos ayuda muchísimo. Y hoy teníamos que invitar pues a un gran amigo del proyecto de Zona Gigantes que tiene un nuevo proyecto. Y obviamente pues los amigos hay que apoyarlos. Un gran experto en todo el tema de college football, de análisis. Y nos acompaña desde Estados Unidos, desde Florida, Bobby Skinner, que lo podéis seguir en su nuevo podcast Giants Nation. Suscribiros ya, por favor. ¿Cómo estás, Bobby?
Nada. How are we doing, my friend? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. How is your Spanish going? Good?
It's getting better. Más o menos. When anyone asks me, más o menos. I got to get better at it. When Isabel's family was here, I felt like I was, starting to get it, and then I get busy, and then I start to lose it a little bit. But I'm trying to get better. Duolingo.
Muy bien. And yeah, have a wife. A Spanish wife is important to practice too. Bobby, how do you see the overall state of the Giants heading into the draft? I mean, we are in the 2025 season. Bad record last year. Table and also Joe Shane in the hot seat. How do you see the situation of the Giants going through this draft on the pick 3? What is your overall thinking?
Crucial. I mean, again, people's jobs are on the line with Joe Shane and Brian Dable. We know they can't they're not going to be able to take another bad season. But going into the draft, everyone's mind is on one position because for the first time in 6 years, Daniel Jones is not slated to be the quarterback week 1, whether you liked it or you didn't. This is the first time where there's going to be someone different. And I think we're all going into this draft expecting them to get a quarterback, whether that's Shedeur Sanders at pick 3 or Jalen Milroe at pick 34 or, Kyle McCord at pick 105. I think we're all expecting them to get a quarterback at some point in this draft that they're going to try and sell to the fan base as part of the future.
Yeah, I mean, how crucial is for the pick 3 for the immediate future? I mean, you think the Giants will use this card for go 100% as a quarterback? You think they're going to take it on the second round? What do you think in the mind of Joe Shane they're going to act on the next Thursday? I think you are mute, Bobby.
I'm muted, okay. Sorry. I think they're going to get one in the second or third round.
Okay.
Everything has pointed to them wanting someone else other than Shedeur Sanders, right? They went all in on Matthew Stafford. And then they tried to trade up for Cam Ward. And then they waited on Aaron Rodgers. And then they didn't just sign one quarterback, veteran quarterback. They signed 2, and both Russell Wilson and Jameis. So I feel like they're not in on quarterback at 3. Joe Shane's press conferences have made me feel like that a little bit, even though I don't buy into what he says too much. But and another thing, Ruben, is they've spent so much time working on the day 2 QBs, right? Having them for visits and private workouts with Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart and Tyler Shugg. It feels like they're not wanting to take a quarterback at pick 3.
But boy, you remember in January that Shedeur Sanders was like the overall number 1 pick for many teams. Like when the Raiders got the first pick in circumstantial times, they thinking on Shedeur. The Giants also, if they finish and they don't win to the Colts on the last game, it was the Shedeur Sanders, the name. What do you think it happens in all these 4 months that makes Sanders go down that much?
I think people who don't do the draft full time start to watch, and I also think there's a little bit of this, Ruben, is that in season, it's the quarterbacks it's kind of media driven, where once the season's over, the teams actually start talking about them and focusing on them, and I think media people will copy what the top guys. What they're hearing from general managers a little bit. So, like for me, example, Ruben, I didn't have any big opinions on Shedeur Sanders. The media talked about him. And so whenever we would talk about quarterback in November, December, and it'd be like, oh, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Now I like Cam Ward even in the season better, and then I go and watch Shedeur and I'm like, okay, this is, I'm not as high on this as people made me think I would be when I watched him in November or when I heard about him in November and December. And there's a little bit of groupthink that goes with it, I think, as well, too. But I don't know the exact reason why, because I agree with you. No games have been played since the end of the season. What has changed? I think it's just people play catch up. Like Brian Dable didn't watch any games of Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward until the season was over.
Yeah, and you remember the last draft, like JJ McCarthy was like the common name for many conversations. He's gonna be the pick at number 6. Then they finish it with Malik Neighbors. You think it can happen something opposite with all the Abdul Carter Tolkiens, with all the Travis Hunter, and in the end, Shador Sanders was the pick from the first day, and everything was a smokescreen?
We'll see. Here's where I don't think it's a smokescreen, Ruben. It's not just like rumors or Joe Shane's press conferences. It's the fact that they wanted Matthew Stafford so badly, and then wanting Aaron Rodgers, and then signing the and then wanting to trade up for Cam Ward. Those are the things that make me think it's not a smokescreen. But we've been surprised before. So again, if Shedeur Sanders is the pick, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I just don't think it is.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. And then, what things should fans watch the Giants to trade up or trade down on this draft? What do you think is going to make to Shane to trade up, if it's possible, to the number 2 or number 1? I think it's really difficult on number 1 because the Titans are close not to sell this pick. But do you see the Giants going some trade in this number 3?
I hope not. Like you said, the Titans, that's not going to happen. So again, I would like, if it was a good deal, I would love to trade up and get Cam Ward. But I hope they don't trade down, because I love Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter so much, right? I just really like those players so much. I want one of those 2 guys on the team. I like Abdul Carter more than Travis Hunter, but I'd be really happy with either of those 2. So no, I just don't want to trade down, right? Maybe it's a little bit me being hurt from when they traded down and missed on Micah Parsons and Rashawn Slater, and then they took Kadarius Toney and then drafted Evan Neal with the bonus, pick that they had. But I want to stay at pick 3. Like, this team, I feel like, needs star players, and there's probably only 2 guys who you project as star players in the draft with Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, outside of quarterbacks.
Yeah, and if the Browns pick Abdul Carter, in talking about Hunter conversation, he has played in both receiver and cornerback. Where do you think he have the biggest impact on this Giants roster? What do you think is gonna have more impact and playing better for the table in attack, in defense? What do you think?
It's tough to say because he's really good at both. I think wide receiver is an easier transition as a rookie, even though I would play him at corner, though. Like, I think you put him at cornerback, make him a full-time corner, and that is, then you get him with a Paulson and a Debo, and you're a team that can get a lot of interceptions. They both have obviously excellent ball skills to get interceptions and pass breakups and things like that. So I would want him at corner, and then you can put him at wide receiver for like 15 or 20 plays, and you just basically give him like eight plays that he needs to learn and look at, and then see what he can do. You can get him involved in a screen play and let him get some yak. So I think his bigger impact day 1 would be at wide receiver, because it's easier to move to the NFL at wide receiver. But I think long term, I would want him at corner.
Yeah, and Ricky's making this question: who makes bigger impact day 1, Carter or Hunter, in your opinion?
If Hunter is playing both ways, Hunter, because he's playing both ways, right? But if we're talking about him not playing one side of the ball or 2 sides of the ball that much, I think Abdul Carter, just because I think that pass rush translates very quickly into the NFL. I think he's going to be really, really special as a pass rusher. And I think he's better as edge, as a defensive end, than Travis Hunter is at a corner or a wide receiver. And I'm not fully convinced that Hunter can do it both ways long term in the NFL. Like, that's a lot. It's not just a lot physically, but it's a lot mentally. Where in college you don't need to be as sharp with the mental side of the game, and it comes to him naturally. So I would just go Abdul Carter, because I feel like you could, even though it could be Travis Hunter, he could try and play him both ways, and he struggles because he's playing both ways. So I would go Abdul Carter. I think it's just easier to see him do it. But if they put him at wide receiver full time, it'd probably be Travis Hunter.
Okay, and then Abdul Carter, how will he fit on the Giants' current defensive scheme of Bowen? Because it's a question, no?
Yeah, it is. But I think it's a good question for a team that's been so bad, Ruben. Is like, oh wow, we have good play. We have a good amount of players at one position. The Giants haven't had that in so long. Where again, I think Abdul Carter and Brian Burns would be the starters. Kayvon Thibodeau is the third guy who plays a lot, though, right? He could still play 60% of the snaps, and then then you could put Abdul Carter played linebacker, right? So you can put him on linebacker on certain plays. On third down and long, you can put
like
all
a
of them
middle linebacker next to Kreke.
Yeah. Just again, not a lot, but on some plays.
Mm-hmm.
On third down, Ruben, think about this. You have Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns on each sides, and then in the middle, you put Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence. Like, good luck trying to block that. You got to double team somebody or leave somebody one-on-one. Like, good luck picking on who you want to do that with. There's just so many things you can do with a player like Abdul Carter because of how amazing of an athlete he is. So I think you need to be creative, like you said, because you have Kayvon and he's a little bit of a different player. But if you're not, if you can't get creative and find good ways to use all those guys, then I think you're a bad defensive coordinator.
Yeah, my only issue, Bobby, is that the Giants, in some moments of the season, they had the number one defense in sacks in the league. We had a lot of nice pass rush. In defense, we don't have that many issues like in attack. And for me, if you have the 3 pick overall, I think for this team, the Giants, you have to take a difference maker in attack, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, Abdul Kanter is really good, but in the same time, we are really bad in attack.
Yeah, here's the thing: is I feel like the Giants need something that they're really, really strong at, and like you said, they had a lot of sacks in the beginning of the year, and then it tailed off. I mean, what did they finish with? I guess they were about 10th in sacks on the year, but a lot of those came in like 2 games, against the Cleveland Browns and then one other team. So I want this Giants team to have something that they're really strong at, right? And they spent free agency. They signed Paulson Adebo. They signed Javon Holland. So they added some guys in free agency to help with that. Where again, I want the Giants to have something where other teams, when they go to play them, like that's the thing we're got to be worried about. And I don't think they've had that in a long time outside of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's true. You buy this comparison with Micah Parsons, Bobby, that he's like this similar player that he can play everywhere, dominant, and can put pressure in all the parts of the line and in the gaps everywhere.
Yeah, it is. I think it's the best comparison for him. Now, I think Abdul Carter or Micah Parsons is better. I think Micah Parsons plays a little stronger, and Abdul Carter needs to start playing that. So again, I'm not saying he's better than Micah Parsons, but I think that is the best comparison for him in the NFL. You just watch both those guys move, and it's special. Now again, it's being Micah Parsons, that is big. That's a hard thing to do, but I think that you watch them move, and it's just extremely close.
Absolutely.
And they both played number 11 for Penn State, so it looks similar too on the field.
Yeah, that's true. And they are from Pennsylvania both, so it's like they are copy paste. Boy, what's the worst case scenario for the Giants in this draft, in your opinion? Drafting Shador or?
No, I would say that it's that they traded back into the first round for Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
So like they get their pick at 3, and then they give up their 2nd round pick, their 3rd round pick, and like a 5th round pick to trade up and get Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe, who are both quarterbacks I think are going to be bad. Now, you take Jalen Milroe in the 3rd round, it's you're taking a chance, but he's so talented. But if you throw away multiple picks for that, I think that is the worst case scenario, because I think both quarterbacks will be bad, even though they have some talent. Like if you take Shador at pick 3 and it doesn't work out, well, then it's the same thing that happened with Evan Neal or other top first round picks that haven't worked out. It's certainly not good, but it shouldn't be something that totally ends you as a team if you draft well in the other spots. So that my worst case scenario would be that they draft, whoever in the first round, which is good, but then they trade their 2nd round pick, 3rd round pick, and 5th round pick to trade up and back into the first round and get someone that like Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart.
So, Bobby, in your big board of QBs is Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and after...
Yes, I'll even go like this. It goes Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Tyler Shugg, Jalen Milroe, and then Jackson Dart off the screen.
Okay. Wow. So Jackson Dart for you, it's like this Kubi that was in Ole Miss also, I don't remember his name now. He played for
Matt
the
Corral.
Panthers. Matt Corral, this kind of player, no, that it's getting a lot of boost in the last moments before draft, and when he arrived to the pros, it's like totally bust.
Yeah, and I think they're different players, and I think Matt
Yeah.
Corral had personal issues that Jackson Dart doesn't have. But my thing is that Ole Miss offense just makes quarterback where it's like you're not even really thinking. You're just throwing to where they tell you to go, and if it's not there, you run. And he did that fairly well. But my worry, Ruben, is I know you watch college football. Look at him in the big, in the fourth quarter. Look at him in the fourth quarter. Against the Gators, against LSU, against Kentucky. When they needed him to make a big play, that's where he had his worst plays. So if you're in an offense like that, and then you're also not taking advantage of it in the big moments, then I just am not a big fan of yours. And I don't think his arm is super great or anything either. It's just okay. So I don't like Jackson Dart at all. Maybe if he went and played at a different team and learned how to play quarterback, I might like him better. But yeah, I'm just not a big Jackson Dart fan.
Yeah, Ricky, have another question. Thank you, Ricky, for your questions. What QB do you think we will draft?
Jalen Milroe.
Second round?
I think so, right? Or third round.
We have 2-3 rounds.
So it's tough because I think Jalen Milroe in the second round is crazy. But we know that they really want a quarterback, and Jalen Milroe is going to be the most talented one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they don't want to get to the round 3 and then all the quarterbacks are gone. That Tyler Shugg, Jalen Milroe, and Jackson Dart are gone. So I do think that they pick him at pick 34 most likely, or maybe it's like Malik Willis, Ruben, where there was talks of Malik Willis going top 10, and then he doesn't go until the end of the third round. So I could see that also happening with Jalen Milroe, even though I think Milroe is more talented than Malik Willis. So I'll say Jalen Milroe. I feel like there's been a lot of smoke when it comes to that.
And you think Milroe is going to adapt well to the Dable scheme and everything? It's like a good player to develop under the system.
He's a good player to try and develop, but again, he was bad. Like he wasn't very good at Alabama.
Inconsistent,
But he's an amazing athlete, and he has a big arm, right? So those are the things that you look to work with. I don't think it would work, but again, he's the one I'm willing to take a chance on because he's so talented, right? Where if you draft Kyle McCord may be better than Jalen Milroe, but Kyle McCord,
a lot of injuries, no?
Tyler Shugg, I think you're thinking.
Tyler Shugg, okay.
It's Kyle McCord may be better.
Syracuse, no? You're talking about?
Yeah, okay. Syracuse. So he may be better than Jalen Milroe, but he's not talented enough to really be a special quarterback, where Jalen Milroe is. So at least you take a chance with him, where Kyle McCord is just a backup.
Yeah, I think we want to take a quarterback in this draft for sure. In any of the rounds, they have to take this shot. Bobby,
what about you? You want Shedeur Sanders, right?
I like Shedeur, Bobby. I think he have the, how to say in English, like intangibles is in English?
Yeah, intangibles, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we know all the big market is New York. Many players, they have a lot of talent. They arrive to the big market and they disappear. I think it's going to be like with confidence. It's going to be like Aaron Judge in baseball, like Jalen Brunson, this kind of players that they embrace the big lights. I don't know. I think it's gonna work, and I like what I see of him in many games. That he was like he have to win the game for the team, and he was. I mean, I know it's not the most polished guy. I know it's not have the biggest arm, but I think he could work behind Russell Wilson for a few games and preparing for the big stage. I will take the shot if I'm Brian Dable and Joe Shane.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's accurate. And the arm, I guess it didn't have the big arm, but I think he's got an NFL arm, and he's really accurate. And I like the mental stuff. Some people don't like that stuff.
Okay.
I do. I just don't like him that much as an overall quarterback. But he is my second favorite in the class, though. Like and I think it's a big gap between him and the number 3 or number 4 guy too.
Yeah, I was in a program in Mexico. Destino Canton is some guys from ESPN. They are crazy about college football. And they put me the numbers of Caleb Williams with Shedeur Sanders in the last year of Caleb Williams and Shedeur Sanders. They have exactly the same numbers, Bobby. And you can see that how the bad press and the bad talk sometimes for a player, it can make him like down and make him number one. So for me, I mean, it's not like a spectacular like Caleb Williams, but in the same time, he had the same numbers in college football, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't think it's impossible for sure. It's not like, again, like Jalen Milroe, even though, like I said, if they take a chance, I'm very confident Jalen Milroe is going to be bad. Shador, I want to take, but I also think he has a better path to being a good quarterback compared to anyone in this class that's not named Cam Ward.
Yeah, Rick is asking, Bobby, NFL comparison to Milroe or potential comparison to develop correctly?
There's
Jalen
really,
Hurts?
So, no, because I think Jalen Hurts is a different type. I actually think if developed correctly, a good comparison would be Colin Kaepernick. Now, he's a better athlete than Colin Kaepernick, but the way that they throw, right, where they're both aggressive, but also they don't really throw the ball with touch. And again, I don't think there's a great comparison. So this one's not perfect either. But I think like just play style and arm talent wise, and then Milroe's would be a much better athlete than Kaepernick, even though Kaepernick was a good athlete. I think that's the one. I know people go to Lamar, but I think Lamar was just a much different and better passer than him. But like realistic comparison,
difficult.
Like Malik Willis,
No,
it basically someone who didn't work out, which is hard to,
Yeah, but he played in Liberty, a really small program. At the end, it's like, it's difficult to compare.
Yeah.
Bobby, any sleeper picks we should keep an eye if the Giants trade down? Like you say, Jalen Milroe, but for example, in second, third round, any player that you will like to see in the roster that not many people is talking about?
Jack Betch, the wide receiver from TCU.
Okay.
He actually won the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, the Senior Bowl MVP when we were there. I really like him, but he's not the fastest guy in the world, so people he doesn't get talked about a lot. But like people like Savion Williams from TCU, and Jack Betch was just a much better receiver for the same team. I really like him. I think he's a perfect fit. Unfortunately, I think at pick 34 for the Giants, that they're going to have like an O lineman or a D lineman that they should take there. But like you said, if they trade back to like pick 42 and they get, pick 52 as well, then I would love to get myself a Jack Betch and then try and get a defensive lineman as well too. So Jack Betch from TCU is one that I really like. Let's see. This wouldn't be trading down, but I really like Donovan Jackson, the offensive lineman at Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah.
He's someone that I would like to see go at. Excuse me, my phone was ringing. See, we could get a pick 34. So he's somebody that I really like. Darius Alexander from Toledo is somebody that I really like, but again, I think you'd have to trade down. I don't think you'd want to
defensive tackle, no? Darius Alexander.
Yeah, from Toledo.
Yeah.
So a guy like some guys like those, but I look at the defensive line for the second and third round pick, and I feel like they should get somebody like that. And if you want someone that's not high, like someone that's on day 3 from the Florida Gators, Cam Jackson, I think he's the biggest defensive tackle in the class outside of his teammate, the guy who's like 500 pounds, number 21 from Florida. But he's just so strong that if you work with him the right way, he could be someone who's like a really good run defender.
So you think the Giants going to take a tackle in one of the rounds, possible?
I think so, right? Like it makes sense, and I think they could even take more than one because there's such a big need for them.
Okay. So rapid fire answer and question, Bobby. Your ideal pick for the Giants today?
Say it again.
We're gonna make a quick hit questions and show close. Yeah, like rapid fire. Your ideal pick for the Giants today?
At pick 3?
Yeah.
Abdul Carter.
Most overrated player in the draft?
Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M.
Most underrated player in the draft?
Most underrated player in the draft. Benjamin Morrison, the corner from Notre Dame, because he's coming off an injury, but he's a first-round corner, and people say he's going to go in the 3rd round. So I'll say Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame.
Okay. Biggest positional need of the Giants in this draft?
Quarterback, but if we're not saying quarterback, I'll say defensive tackle.
Okay. And one crazy trade you would like to see from one of the teams or whatever you want to see, like this kind of crazy trades in the draft?
I would like somebody to trade up and take Jackson Dart, maybe the Browns or somebody, so the Giants don't take him.
Okay, maybe it will happen. Okay, Bobby, we're not gonna take you more time because you have many requests from international fans. You're gonna be with the UK and Irish show today, our friends. Bobby, it's been a pleasure. Please subscribe to the new podcast of Bobby, Giants Nation, and he have a Patreon there. Can you explain, Bobby, how they can help your account and your
First,
podcast?
Ruben, I need you to send me your address so I can send you the new stickers.
Okay. Yeah, I need to tap the other ones.
Ruben, you know, I've always appreciated you. You know, you've been someone who supported me from day one, and it's been really
and you
cool
to me.
Yeah,
Likewise,
it's been one of the coolest things about this has seeing like you grow, right? And you know, going from doing your podcasts and stuff into being on the radio and with the New York Giants. It's been very cool to see. And so it was exciting to see you whenever we usually try and go up to New York around the same time. So
yeah.
Get to hang out with play Madden in the van or whatever we do. So I really appreciate you. And
well,
I got to get some news.
Playing, no, you beating me on Madden.
Hey, we did the Hablando Gigantes stickers and T-shirts. We got to make new ones for those. So
of course,
I know it's
Nación Gigante.
Yeah. So should I do? Is it Gigantes Nación or Nación?
No,
Gigantes?
Nación Gigante. Yeah,
okay.
Isa can tell you it's Nación Gigante.
All right, yeah, we're gonna make that, right? And so
okay,
we'll put that
let's do it.
And obviously I'll send some to you because because you deserve it. But I've always appreciated Zona Gigantes and everything that you guys do.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Likewise, I'm 100% sure your new show is gonna be amazing. You're killing it already. And man, you're gonna be on the draft in the channel, reacting live and everything.
Yeah, we'll be live, the whole channel, myself, the Football Grump, and
I love Football Grump. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, and Danny King. So we'll be live the entire time. What are you going to be doing for it?
Yeah, we're gonna be with Alex here on the channel doing. We have some surprise, but yeah, it's gonna be amazing too.
So I'm putting things in my notes of things to do. One of the things I like to do is are you going to be doing it on day 3?
I don't think so. Day 3, probably not. It's so long.
Okay. Well, so then I'm going to call you on day 3 and we're going to interview for, you know what? Just come on for like 5. If you're not busy on day 3,
of course.
Just jump on for like 5 minutes or in the 6th round or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I appreciate you, Ruben. And then whenever we get back over to Spain, we got to figure out a way to get to Barcelona.
Por favor. So, please, como he dicho, seguir a Bobby en Giants Nation, suscribiros a su canal, Patreon, todo. Y nada, nos vemos la semana que viene con el draft ya. Hasta luego, chicos. Chao, chao.